Good day everyone, Day here bringing you another episode in my The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. As I'm sure you guys see just as well as I do that they actually updated the title screen to reflect what we're actually playing currently, which is a very nice touch. A very nice touch. I was quite surprised in a happy kind of way that they actually did that. Not in a happy way because I freaking see Asogi's outline just on the ground. But we're going to do the recap once we actually hop back into the game, which I hope press and continue actually takes me to where I want to be. So far, so not so good. Not so good at all. So Kazuma Asogi is the victim of this case. It is a locked room mystery because not only was the door that leads into this cabin locked with a golden bolt, so I wouldn't imagine that to be like the easiest thing to just, you know, nitpick around with. But Ryunosuke himself was also locked inside of the dresser, or the, you know, where you keep clothes. I guess it's a dresser. I'm not 100% sure. But yes, so he was in there with a tape on it that said keep out, which was placed on there most likely by Asogi himself. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I figured that maybe even the murderer would not have gone in there because they would have removed the tape and it would not have been to their benefit to actually you know, keep that tape. Like, oh, there's somebody in here, let's place the tape back over the door. That doesn't feel authentic enough. So I guess even the murderer didn't realize that Ryunosuke was in there. They probably did. I mean, as completely disarrayed as this room is, whoever Asogi went against, it doesn't seem like it would have been an easy bet. And considering how Kazuma was, I wouldn't imagine him to be taken out easily at any rate. So what we're going to do today is do a bit of examination, which I am curious how they handle it, if it's going to be like Spirit of Justice or Dual Destinies, or if it's going to have its own little Great Ace Attorney flair. So, should I speak to, maybe I should speak, no, I'm not going to speak to her yet. I am going to look around just to see if we could procure up some evidence that we can show her. And perhaps she might be able to enlighten us on a bit of it. That's not what I wanted to press on, but it's totally fine. This is a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away onto this vessel. It was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see. It says this way up in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over. And then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Oh dear. That won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused. I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard. Are you, Norahodo-san? Oh, okay, I get it. This is basically just an explanation. I'm sure you're careful to look around, using left and right, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Well, we only looked at one thing so far. Okay, so that's check marked. I don't want to leave yet. Let's look at this Russian. Did Kazuma write that before he died? What this tells me is that it had to be a Russian that killed him and left him a foreign message. Well, had him write a foreign message, I suppose. But I feel like that's the loophole right there. Like, it pinpoints like a crew member on this ship. Would they have been? No, because it's a deadbolt. It's not like a key. So I don't know. I would be stumped on that part. The door itself is the part that's going to be the most confuzzling part of the whole case. I could see that already. It looks like it was written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Would Kazuma know Russian? I don't think he would have. Like, Russian would not be like a secondary language to learn in Japan. I highly doubt it. If it is, please educate me. But I feel like if there was a secondary language, it would probably be English. But outside of that, it just seems like Russian is not really going to be like a top priority language. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. So was Sholmes. I know I probably say that like very sarcastically, but I'm trying my best to make sure I actually say his name right for the duration of this game, which is going to be very difficult because I know the character you truly is supposed to be based off of. Everyone probably does though. Okay, so I guess Sasato basically couldn't understand Sholmes when he was actually giving his, demonstration around the room and stuff, because otherwise she would have known. He mentioned it then. He said that the words are in Russian. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pinpoint it myself, which is why I have to go off of what Sholmes says, because I am not very familiar with Russian. At least not Inkpok Russian. Like, I could kind of see, like, it being Russian now, but before, no, I wouldn't have guessed that at all. What is this on the floor? It looks like a boomerang or a leg or something. That looks weird. Oh, I can press on a knife. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it on the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how did the plate end up on the floor? See, it was like a scruffle or something in here. But Kazuma-sama didn't like the chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it, which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? Dang it. It's just too horrible. I have to agree. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. So the sword's on the floor. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. This is why I honestly didn't see him passing away or getting killed or whatever. I figured that, he would have a legacy to uphold for himself. This, like I said, it hits hard, and it still hits hard. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Jeez. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night, when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. You were possessed by a demon. No, 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 no. Hey, could I analyze the chair? Saigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Why would I feel shame? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on a ship? Well, now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. She doesn't seem keen on letting you do so, that's for sure. Okay, so... okay, never mind. What do you think of this? Or what do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean into. Looks like a smear stain too. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? So it's not something that Kazuma had. And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? I thought it may be a blood splat, but I guess not. Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Huh. What is that? What does this say? Oh, so it's totally Russian. I can tell now. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bureau. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly prohibited. What? Why are you staring at me? He's not a pet per se, or a weapon. Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Oh, I feel like okay, so Kazuma's sword is the dangerous weapon. But I feel like there's probably someone that brought aboard some kind of pet. Maybe a chipmunk just to shake things up a bit. They probably wouldn't. I don't even know. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Nothing is written for no reason. That's just video game and storybook logic. It's very rare to read or learn something and it not have play into like the future of the story arc. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way. Huh. I mean, now that he mentions it, yes. So I was just thinking like the whole shelf was just like, you know, tousled in the scuffle, but does that really make sense? Probably not. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? I thought he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. Maybe this was part of the fight then. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? It would have to. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Interesting that you put it exactly as it should be, because I could tell that that orange book was like more fallen over than the rest of the books. So it's basically like she definitely straightened it up the way it was before. Let's check this out before we move over to the next side, which I guess it just extends it a little. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. Oh. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hi-ya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Come on, Susato. At least the last passage. I'm not saying we have to go through the whole thing, but maybe something happened last night and he was writing it down. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, you know? But in this case, isn't it the need for clues more important? I will wager yes, and I'm sure we'll get to investigate it at some point, maybe when we can like juke Susato and get a chance to read it in privacy or something. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. True. Wait, so it's connected next door? That's true. Perhaps so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose. Maybe that's it. Whoa! Gosh. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. It's Sholmes! That's gonna be the running gag of the gag. Jeez. As far as I could tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... I really do like the animation in here. You've noticed the man too, have you? How could you not? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk? Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it? Or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then. I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do! This is probably the most excited she's ever been. But we're not going to look at him yet. I'm going to continue investigating around the room, so ha! It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea of what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. What happened last night? Darn it. That's gonna niggle at me. I have to finish this case today now. This is, yes, it's a Belcourt contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you could pull to ring a bell to summon servants. So a lot of people had servants, huh? Couldn't imagine living like that. Just ringing a bell and someone comes to your aid, or just general well-being and need. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. Oh, you're okay with this, but not reading journals, eh? Nothing happens. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. Jeez. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Of course, that's the case completely. Okay, so I think I examined everything that needs to be examined. I do want to speak to the soldier first. Oh wait, no, I get to examine the door. I didn't do that. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this boat had been firmly closed. It's quite a small boat and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there will be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It slides into place. I feel like that's gonna matter. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense, all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. Me too! But the door of this cabin and this frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There will be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Alright. So now I think that's everything. I mean, I'm just gonna see what this gentleman has to say first before I talk to Sholmes. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. He's probably not gonna say too much though. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime, very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? No, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. So something happened last night. Okay, so Sholmes, let's get with it. Excuse me. Excuse me? Do you have a moment? Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation. Yeah, I guess he's doing what he... Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? I wonder if he would have stayed there until I finished investigating the room. That's my guess anyway. Because sometimes they do that. You can't progress until you actually, like, check everything anyway. Ooh, those glasses are mighty, mighty awesome. Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign crimes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things, in fact. There is no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. This is all fantasy, sir. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. No, we were best friends. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? Okay. A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name. I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? I'm not Russian! Susato, you know this better than anyone at this point. We were in whatever. And you're planning a revolution too. You're easily swayed. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way Hiya! Oh my gosh, she's way too quick to. I don't understand this. Come on, Susato, you should know this. I was best friends with Kazuma. I'm definitely Japanese. I went to college in Japan. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. Oh my gosh. She's easily swayed by everything. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. I love that. But was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. But that was just a guess. There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Herlock Sholmes? So, it's really you, the actual Herlock Sholmes. The very same. The inimitable, actual Herlock Sholmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Because we've already had a taste, a sample, if you will. Now I kind of wish I spoke to Susato when I had the chance. I went straight to examining things. Okay, so, great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German. I thought they pronounced it differently than that. Herlock, was it? No. I have no air. I mean, I have hair. Please. Yeah, that's how I thought they pronounced it. So is that how they pronounce it here? Herlock? Please call me Sholmes. Yep, that's what I've been doing. So that's crazy. That's literally what he wants me to call him. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Randis magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. So he is a literary character. No wonder they had to change his name. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? I like the pipe look too. Like, he has a lot of interesting sprite work. Well, I guess it's not sprite work, but animated work. My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer? Do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? The guy that just got killed? But he says that they're in London. Dr. Wilson? Okay, so yeah, is it the same guy? Wilson. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy as of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. He's too flamboyant. You'll never get anything straight across from him. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have turned both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only heir. No, Herlock Sholmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. How suitable. This guy doesn't know what he speaks of. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself amongst their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Oh. I'm gonna go down to what you were just investigating since I was here first. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma. Ah yes, the victim. Do you notice anything useful? Anything at all? The way he flips his hat. Observe, for a moment, the desktop of the victim. Yes, I've noticed. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. I figured she was going to do nothing to him. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Truly it is. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering! Sayonara, bonsai, mikado. Naru naru, I trust you're suitably impressed. Ah. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing? We can't take this character seriously. We can't. So what was all that showing off about before then? Did Susato already know he didn't read a lick of it? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. What a is everyone in Japan a hypocrite? Oh my god. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. Oh. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? Is that the ship? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. The speckled band in the story was a snake, wasn't it? A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Oh no. A snake poisoned him. Ah! I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. Why am I giving her an almost British accent? Wrong people to be given accents to, because I guarantee there's going to be a bunch of characters in this game. The ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. A diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spotted what appeared to be a speckled band. Oh my god. The person next door was keeping a pet snake. And he died of snake poisoning. Because it says no pets aboard. The snake snuck into the room and bit him. Which is why they still don't know what killed him. He wasn't shot, he wasn't stabbed, and he wasn't bludgeoned. So what does that mean? It means that he was killed some other way. But they will probably have found snake bites on him if he was bit by a snake. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Yes, but first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime are as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering the escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think that the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. He's not Russian. I'm butchering that. Let me not. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. I see. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? No, he wasn't. And Susato should know that too. Initially, I considered garde-robe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there, at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, the outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. My school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Ah, my heart, my soul. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. This pains me. This pains me more than I care to admit, man. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Dang, the last photograph of him. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You care, Susato? Thought you were still assuming that I may have done something to him. Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. The Russian word for wardrobe in purple ink, it would appear to have been written in the victim's final moments. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me? Do you think? I know not one lick of Russian. I mean, I do know a slight bit, but it's like high and stuff, like nothing of that nature. I definitely couldn't read that. So Tilly, if it interests you, how many times I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian? Right? Seriously. I really don't know any Russian at all either. Can we talk about your deduction before the things you concluded about me, I mean? The not famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? He did mention that. Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? And we were already on this ship long before the port call, so that already rules that out too. It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No! How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Yeah. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There could be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Wow, that article is very thorough, I must admit. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. It's not close to Shanghai, I'll say that much. Here, take the paper for yourself. It's a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. And you may find the article on the back of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Alright. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider, for the time being at least. Yes, I suppose you did. There's definitely another article on the back. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. She is beautiful. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess. Do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you've noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of his contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina at the Nova Vic Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see before you, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovic Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. It's best you don't. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. An article on the back page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovic Ballet disappears from Shanghai. That has something to do with something too, which is evidence on top of it. That's going to mean something for sure. I guess that's that. And we already know about this one. Guess we could look at the picture again though. Just to do so. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this is. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with the fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Valine Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never lie or never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was all right, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
Well, that's that. Nothing else matters here. Not the flag waving. It's a very thoroughly drawn newspaper, I will admit. Alright, so we're done with that. Oh. Oh, okay, that's just... Examined. Oh, yeah, then... Well, we already read that. Jeez. Ugh! That's gonna... that hurts! Let's just finish this arc up real quick.
Do you have somewhere to go?
As this happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No, there's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
What?
You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. He has memory loss or something? You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So, what were you looking at my knees before? Wait, so what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? I'm still locked in handcuffs like you said. What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. This guy is crazy. Now he's just being plain rude. I don't know if I like this detective guy. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. His name really is twisted for more ways than one.
Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for?
We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can...
Hi-ya!
Well,
after Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up. You're just going to roll over and accept your fate.
As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door.
Good idea.
The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. I cannot believe he is at the pinnacle of another murder case. Back to back! And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. And bring the real culprit to justice. Is that...
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Alright.
Oh, yes. You're right.
He does look familiar. Not so much. But I got you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. What can I do for you? He does. Wait a second. He's the fake detective. Well, I guess he's actually a real detective. I recognize that face, but can it be? Oh yes, him. I forgot his name. He's Hosonaga or something like that. It is.
I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga.
Hosonaga. All right, so we're not gonna get into speaking to him today, but what is he doing here? So the plot thickens even more. Hosonaga is here. Okay, there's a lot going on in this case. I really don't think that Naruhodo did it. I know that Naruhodo didn't do it. Sholmes is a bit of a wackadoo mystery himself. He seems a little crazy. There's no sugarcoating that. He seems like he's quick to throw out word vomit on a situation without actually fully understanding all the facts before he does so. So basically he's half the internet. But yeah, so I am going to probably do a little bit of my own like deductive reasoning at the beginning of what we just went over here. I'm not going to do it at the end because I know I like, you know, reviewing the case beforehand at the very beginning of the next episode. So that's where I'm going to leave all this Hosonaga showing up and, you know, the grill playing a part in Asogi's last writings and all that good stuff. We're going to go over that at the very beginning of next episode a little bit, and I would like talk about the rumblings inside my own head. I'm most likely going to take like a 5-minute recess and then jump right back into it because I have to record a lot of episodes in bulk so that way things could continue to progress. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. So long for now. Bye.